Right. So the commands, we know the imperative, they're formed from the subjunctive, right? So if the subjunctive is irregular, then the command form would be irregular. But we didn't learn it, like we didn't study subjunctive, and then I didn't tell you use the subjunctive to form the command, right? I give you shortcuts, right? So what that means is we now have to look at the irregular commands, the ones that have irregular subjunctive forms, right? All right. Some of these you already have. Like I think you have all of the estes or from a star. And you may have all from Sarah and you may have all from ear, right? So if you have them in your notes and they're clear in your notes, then you don't need to take it on again, right? There are a few to the bottom that might be new. And then we will have some in spelling changes. All right, so let's go back over from the start. So we have the to form, the familiar form, right? So these two are familiar. This is for your friends and maybe family. Then the usted form, so the singular, stranger, one stranger, right? One authority figure, and the ustedes, multiple strangers, more than one stranger, right? Many unfamiliar people. The formal, this is the formal form. So we have ser to be. So this is, of course, be, don't be, right? And again, be, don't be. Be, don't be, right? Ear to go, go. You're telling your friend go, don't go. Telling your friend don't go, right? You're telling a teacher go. You're telling a group of teacher, sorry, one teacher again, don't go, right? Telling a group of teachers go, a group of teachers don't go, right? All right, to give. So if it's to your friend, you would say da. If it's to your friend, you would say no this, don't give me, don't give, right? If it were usted, the usted form, so perhaps a stranger, give. The usted form again, don't give, day for positive and no day for negative. Dane versus no Dane. All right. A star to be, right? So again, to your friend, is that be, no, estés, don't be. Be, don't be, be, don't be. Esté, no esté, estén, no estén, right? Note the accent on the E for all of these, right? And the A for the to form. Saber, to know. So you're telling somebody no, like you might say know this, sabe esto, right? No sepas, sepa, no sepa, sepan, no sepan, right? All right, for tener, to have. Ten, you want them to have something, you say have. No tengas, don't have. Right? Tenga, no tengan, tengan, no tengan. Hacer, to do, as. No hagas, for the to form. Don't do. For usted haga, or no aga, agan, no agan. Poner, to put, pon, put, right? No pongas. Ponga, no ponga, pongan, no pongan. Right? So you see it's the PONG form, the PONG, the stem that is irregular, just like HAG, just like TENG up here too, right? And then the endings follow the rule. All right, veneer, to come. So vein, come. No vengas, the stem again, right? For usted venga, no venga. Ustedes vengan, no vengan. And then salir, to leave. So leave, sal, no salgas, don't leave, leave, salga, right? For usted, and then no salga for usted again. Salgan for ustedes, no salgan again for ustedes, right? Don't leave. All right, so we're just taking only ones we don't have. You can take that on if you like, because you want to keep it in one place. That's no problem. And we have to memorize these, right? A few more. All right, so a few more to add to the table. Decir, to tell. Right, ver, to see. Oír, know the accent on top of the I, right? Put my line somewhere else so I don't block it. To hear, listen, right? Conducir, to drive. Traer, to bring, right? And again, what is really happening is the stem is different. Well, this one is completely right. Yes, the stem is different, right? Okay, so D, tell, don't tell, it would be translation, right? And usually we'd add a pronoun, an object pronoun to it, like tell me, don't tell me, tell it to me, don't tell it to me. Right? Ver, to see, so see this, don't see this, don't see it, as in like a movie, don't see it without me. Oye, listen. Or hear, I mean, I give it as to hear, but hear this, don't hear this, don't listen. Right? Conduce, drive. So drive to the mall. Drive me to the mall. Don't no conduzcas, don't drive me to the mall. Right? Don't drive me wherever. And try, bring, and it would be attached to things, bring it to me, bring me the book, bring the drink, whatever. No traigas, don't bring. Right? All right, so 2 minutes. What I want to do next is give us some examples of commands or expressions that we might use star and serif for in the command form. Just a few. Okay, I'm not changing this slide, but I do want to touch on star and star a little bit in terms of when we might use them with a command, right? So these are just examples and you're only limited by imagination, so you're not limited at all, right? All right, so let's say you had ser, you might put it with a characteristic. Just like you would ordinarily when you're talking about what somebody is like. So you might tell them, seas paciente, be patient. What else might you tell them? Well, a group of people, you might tell them sean paciente, or you might tell them say paciente if it's your friend, right? Be patient. You might tell them be nice. Have you ever had to say that to any of your friends? Right. Sean amable. Or sean amables. Well, if it's a group, we have to add in yes, right? So if we say sea amable, be nice. or no, we tell them don't be nice, no seas, amable. So this is to your friend, right? So Sarah plus a characteristic. And then in terms of a star, you would use it just like you would for all the uses of a star for temporary states, right? Things that will change. Sarah is for permanent characteristics and a star is for things that will change. So if you wanted to tell them y'all are going to a concert or you're going somewhere to visit somebody and you want to tell them to be there, you might say, you might use a star, right? Because it's for location. So you want to say be at the bookstore, be at the library. You would use a star, right? So just the same way you would use Sarah and a star for communication normally. If you have to write that as a command, then that's when you would use Sarah and a star as commands, right? So if you want to say to your friend, está al concierto, so be at the concert. You mean literally be physically located at the concert, right? Or you want to tell a group of people, strangers, no, don't be at the library, a la biblioteca, at a certain time because there's a ghost. Don't be at the library, right? So if what you're telling them to be is like a characteristic that can't really change, Sarah, if what you're saying is a temporary feature, just as you would normally use with a star, then a star. All right, so we're looking for two usted or ustedes forms, right? And the verbs that we have are irregular verbs, right? So you could look back at your notes to help you. All right, hola chicos. Hoy vamos a comprar los ingredientes para la cena. Primero, Juan, por favor. And then you put the correct form of ear to agree with Juan, right? Okay, so in terms of what you will write down any vocabulary that is unfamiliar, but just write on the subject and the correct form of the verb other than that, right? All right, okay, so Juan is being sent to the 60 on the frutas, the fruit section, E, and he has to traer algunas manzanas. He has to bring, I want you all to try the whole thing, right? So we're gonna stop, but not stop, but I want you to try the whole thing, right? Ana y Luis, we didn't do buscar as yet. We didn't do, this is, the stem for this is going to be busque. We didn't talk about the spelling, the ones with the spelling changes properly yet. It's on the next slide, I think, right? But I'll just give you busqu, and you'll add whatever the ending is supposed to be, right? All right, so this is Ana y Luis, right? Pero, and they also have this verb. All right, then, señor, por favor, we have darme, señora, no olvidar. Okay, so let's try the first, you try the first paragraph, send your answers. I'm giving you a few minutes, and then we'll correct it and we'll do the next one. Okay, so we're looking at, just a reminder, we're looking at these, right? And these, the exception of buscar and escoger, because we didn't do those two as yet, right? All right, so por favor, Juan, this is going to be the to form of the command. Okay, so everybody who sent an answer, I think, had this correct, right? Because you're talking to Juan, you say you go. So this is ve. So go to the fruit section and bring some apples. So traer. Uh-oh. Not what I intended to do. Sorry, try is on the other side, right? Trier, try, right? TRAE is the two form. Anna y Luis, so now we're using the ustedes form, right? Busquen. All right, so we didn't do spelling changes. We do that on the next slide. Look for fresh vegetables, but no escogen, no escojan, sorry, las que están dañadas. So don't choose ones that look that are damaged. So a useful phrase, right? All right, so no escojan, because we're using new cities form. Correct? Yes, if you think you see a mistake, tell me, right? Señor, por favor. Okay, what is the form of dar we're going to put in here without the me, just dar? What will it be? All right, so if you go back to your notes and you check where you've written down dar, da is for the two form, no de is for the negative form, de, de accent, right? All right, so señor, por favor, de, what are we gonna do with the me? We have to add it to the end, right? Fortunately, we already have an accent, so we don't have to worry about where to put the accent, right? So, deme 2 kilos de arroz. 2 kilos of rice, please. Right? Usted, señora, what are we gonna do about olvidar? No olviden, right? So for the no, sorry, no olvide, because it's señora, so it's usted, right? Singular. This is usted and señor was usted, right? So if it's singular, olvide, correct? Yes? All right. Carlos, we have poner. Okay, so we have the last piece now. Poner. So this is the two form that you need for poner. Again, this is the two form, no romper, don't break the eggs. Everybody, so now again, we're using ustedes because we do use that for everybody, veneer, right? And right, so 3, try the 3. All right, so Carlos put the items in the cart with care, right? Y no rompas. Okay? The only command that does not take the subjunctive is this positive to command. Everything else uses subjunctive. So the negative to command, right? The positive is whatever it is you take the third person, you drop the S. But the negative form is the opposite ending, right? For to. If anybody's confused, let me know, right? Todos. All right, so we have veneer. So we want the ustedes form. So if you look back at your notes in your table today or previously when you wrote it down, no, sorry, not no, vengan. We're saying vengan, come. All right, come quickly to the register, a la caja, antes de que se haga tarde, before we run late, right? Before it gets late. A la caja, to the register. Look, a nice expression for us. To the cashier. All right. 2 minutes, look at it, see if there's any other vocabulary you want to ask about or note. Okay, so let's just discuss these a bit. In Spanish, there are verbs that end with certain letters, right? So if the verb ends with CAR, like buscar, for example, and there are others on this slide we'll go back to. Then when you put it in the subjunctive, the C has to change to a QU. So be a K sound instead of a S sound. If the verb ends in GAR, so like pagar, to pay for, we change the G to a GU, again, because if it comes in front of a vowel like a E, then it becomes hey. An H sound, we don't want that. We want to keep the G sound, go. Right? Zar, like empezar. Right? The Z changes to a C. GER. Escoger, like just now we had escoger. Right? G to a J to keep the soft J sound, right? So before we add the opposite endings, we need to change these letters. So we need to change the C to a QU, the G to a GU, the Z to a C, the GER to a G. And you know, if you say it back to yourself after you conjugate it, even if you can't remember the rule at the time, you should hear the difference in pronunciation. And then you can figure out how to fix it, right? Okay, so sacar to take out. Right? So saka, no sake. So there's the QU, sake, QU again, right? QU, QU. So no sake, no sake. Both say this, right? All right, tocar to touch or to play an instrument, right? So toca for two. No toques, toque, no toque, toquen, no toquen. So QU. So the C changes to QU. Just like here, QU. Right? If you would like to take on one example rather than all of them, that's fine, right? You can just add it to the table before if you have room. Pagar, so normal pagar for two, but then when you have to add the opposite ending, to keep the G sound instead of a H sound, you have to put GU, right? No pagues for two, pague for usted, no pague for usted. Usted is paguen and no paguen, right? Again, for jugar. Now, here's something else. If the verb is stem changing, the stem changes in the command, right? So that's a rule I didn't give you. And again, that's because it's formed from the subjunctive. And the subjunctive stem comes from the yo form. So the stem has changed in the yo form if it's stem changing, right? All right, so jugar becomes juegues, right? Juegue, no juegue, jueguen, no jueguen, right? Llegar, the G changes to GU. No llegues, llegue, no llegue, llegue, no llegue. Almorzar, to have lunch. Right? Almuerza for the normal two form. But then the Z changes to C. No almuerces. Almuerce, no almuerce. Almuerce, no almuercen. Right? Empezar. And again, look at the UE. Right? UE here too. Empezar, which is also stem changing. The E changes to IE. Right? So both of these mean to begin. Both of them are stem changing. Right? And then the Z also changes to a C. The Z also changes to a C, right? Cruzar. This one is not stem changing, so I don't know why I circled the U, sorry. Right. Right? If there are any questions, let me know, right? All right, so here we have a passage, and then the last thing we'll do is just revise some vocabulary for given directions, and then we'll be done. Okay, so let's look at this together. Hola, estudiantes. Es hora de comenzar la clase. So, hello, students, it's time to start class. Por favor, sacar sus cuadernos. So, that tells us that the teacher is using the ustedes form, right? Y escribir la fecha en la parte superior. Carlos busca un marcador. Carlos is a very popular name, right? Usted. Look for marker for the board, but don't touch the papers on my desk, right? So still usted. All right. But if you want, you can try with 2, I guess, but let's try usted. Okay, so try this. Tell me what the answers are. Work it out. You can put the answers in the chat. Okay, so if we're using the ustedes forms, then, por favor. So we would take sacar, we would take off the AR for the ustedes form, we would add EN, but then we have a problem with C because then it would be sasin. So as we did just now, we would change the C to QU, sakin. So square, let's take out your books, E. All right, again. Escribir. So we take off the IR and we add, or even if you take the U form, escribo. And you take off the O and you add the opposite ending, so escriban. Right. Right? The date on the upper part. Carlos buscar. So if we use the to form, what would it be? Buscar, right? But if we use the usted form, buscar, take off the AR, we would add E, right? The opposite ending, but because it's BUSC, we change the C to QU. So we have busque, right? Look for a marker for the board, but don't touch. So similar issue, we have tocar. We would add, even if it's the to form, we would add ES, but the C is an issue. So no toques, no toques, right? Or if it's usted form, it would be no toque, right? This is usted, and this is to. Mis papeles en el escritorio. Don't touch my papers on the desk. Okay, make sense? Okay, let's just do the next set together, right? Senor Lopez, por favor. All right, so senor gets Lopez gets a senor. So let's use the usted form. All right, we take off the AR. For usted, we would add the opposite and then E, but the C is an issue. So we would change the C to a QU. And we would get explique. Oh, sorry, explique, because it's one person, right? El problema de matemáticas, otra vez, explain the math problem again. Ustedes, so ustedes, clear indication, chicos, you boys, arrive on time tomorrow, reach the school on time tomorrow, get here on time tomorrow, right? All right, so llegar, we would add EN, and we need to change the G to GU. So llegué, a tiempo mañana y no empezar la tarea tarde. Don't start work late, right? So still ustedes, it would be EN, and the Z would change to C, right? Now empezar is stem changing, so the stem has to change too, right? No empiecen la tarea tarde. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody has any concerns, anything they don't understand? Okay, so try the last 3 on your own. I'm gonna give you a minute. Okay, so Maria, almorzar, have lunch with us today in the cafeteria. So 2 issues. One is the system changing, and the next is this is a Z. So Maria, well, let's see. If Maria is having lunch, that she's probably a friend, right? So we could use a to form. Now, when we use the to form, remember what happens? Does anything happen? Just the stem change, right? Not the C change. So it will be almuerza. Right? Con nosotros hoy en la cafetería, pero no. All right, so now we have to have a Z change into C, right? Because again, it's her, so we change it to, it's the to form, so E, but the Z has to change to C. So no cruce la calle sin mirar. Don't cross the street without looking. Everybody pays for their meal before sitting, right? So I guess we'll say this. No, everybody pay for your meal, not pays for. Everybody pay for your meal before sitting. So EN, because it's ustedes, but the G changes to GU, right? So paguen la comida, because pagar already means to pay for, so we don't need to put in a por or a para. La comida antes de sentarse. All right, well, the last thing we're going to look at is some vocabulary related to directions, right? Because a lot of this involves commands, and it's formal commands because you don't know the person. So you're giving directions to a stranger, right? So turn left, gira a la izquierda. Turn right, gira a la derecha. Go straight ahead, sigue derecho. So you notice that gira actually these are all the two forms. I told you familiar, but the handouts I have, the thing I have is the to form. All right. Next week we can practice putting them into the usted form. All right, so gira a la izquierda, go left, gira a la derecha, go right, sigue derecho, go straight ahead. On something is on the corner in la esquina. You want to tell somebody go past something, so go straight ahead, past the grocery store. Sigue derecho, pasando el supermercado. Right? Literally pasando is passing. Right? All right, cross, cruza, from cruzar, which we just did. This is an E. Zebra crossing, cruce de peotones. Right, another way to say this is pedestrian crossing. Literally, that is what it means, crossing of pedestrians. Traffic lights, el semáforo. So you can say there's a traffic light. Hay un semáforo en la esquina on the corner. Yeah. Manzana, a block. Glorieta, roundabout. Do you all know another name, another word for roundabout? Acera, sidewalk. Giro in U, a U-turn. Cross the bridge, cruza el puente. Opuesto al lado de. Right, next to. Opuesto, opposite. Next to, al lado de. Are there other directions that you know? Yes, for roundabout rotunda, which I think we tend to use more, right? If you want to say at the end of, like you want to say it's at the end of the street, right? Al fin de. Right? The street. La calle. Right? Okay, guys. And this is the last thing we're doing today. No, I'll ask again. I think I asked last time. I don't think I got an answer from this class, but Is there a topic anybody would like to revise before the end of your school term? We still have classes in April. So I won't say before the end of the our term in lessons doesn't really end, but before the end of the school term, is there a topic you would like to revise? If there is, please let me know, right? The sooner you let me know, the sooner I can incorporate it. Is there anything you did this term that you feel unsteady on and you want to go over from school? All right, well, keep me posted if that changes. Okay, guys, so this is the last thing we're doing. As promised, right? Right, so once you're done with these notes, you're all free to leave, right? If you have no more questions, you're all free to leave. Yes, we could do situations, sure. Right, once you're all finished, you're all free to go, right? So situations and school related questions, is this for orals practice? All right, so that's what we work on, right? Okay, so situations then, right? All right, so Ryan, I'm not sure I'm understanding. So that those two things clears up your question, or is there more on the topic you want to do? Okay, no problem then. All right. Okay, yes, we'll definitely include some situations next week, right? So I'll pull out some that use commands. And well, among others.